Baylor Family. My name is James Nortey. I am a 2008 alumnus at Baylor University, and I'm proud to serve on the board of directors for a group called Bears for Leadership Reform. Now, I know in the wake of recent events, many of us in the Baylor family have had questions about what's happening at Baylor, what can we do to help, who is this group called Bears for Leadership Reform, what's going on, what can I do? We hear you. And so we wanted to take a time to just have a frank conversation that we want you to engage, we want you to participate, but we wanted to directly answer some of your questions. And so we're just going to take this time, kind of go through some of the questions we've heard and get feedback. But this is an iterative process, meaning that we need to continue to hear back from you. We want to have a dialogue about what we can do from all over the Baylor family. And so I think one of the questions that's most popular is, what is Bears for Leadership Reform? It's simply a nonprofit group of alumni individuals who care about Baylor and its mission. But in light of recent events, particularly revolving the allegations of sexual assault and domestic abuse around Baylor campus, we're not only disgusted by the response from Baylor leadership, but honestly, really saddened. Saddened for university, and especially saddened for some of the survivors who are in the middle of all this and have sometimes been forgotten. And we feel, as people who care about Baylor, it's on us. It's our responsibility to push for accountability, push for transparency and reform to change the culture of leadership at Baylor and restore the integrity of our beloved university. So that's what we were about. And I know some of the questions people have, they want to know, what specifically do we want to see? I mean, people have concerns that accountability, transparency, that sounds great, but what does that really mean? And so to get into some specifics, our chief goal is to change the culture around the Baylor leadership, particularly the Board of Regents, from a culture of secrecy to a culture of openness and transparency. That's kind of the bottom line, sky-high answer. But specifically, we really want to see disclosure around the Title IX investigation, disclosure around the Pepper Hamilton report and the facts that surround it. We want to know what was the factual basis for terminating President Starr and also members of the athletic department. We want to know, what is the cost of the litigation Baylor's been involved in as a result of these scandals? What is the cost of the settlement agreements? And what is the cost of Baylor's PR campaign? Many of you, myself included, are still paying Baylor tuition debt. And so we trust that Baylor's spending that money wisely, but at the same time, we want to verify that it's being spent wisely. And we can't know that till we get those facts. And then I think more importantly, in addition to all of that, we want to know, how does the Baylor Board of Regents conduct its affairs? We want them to disclose its bylaws, its agenda, and its minutes of past meetings, so that way we have a sense of how decisions are made and who's making them. Sounds great, right? Now I know what you're wondering. How can you join? Go to bearsforleadershipreform.org. And at the very top of the website, you'll see where you can join our group. It's super easy. Next, after you join, you'll automatically be input to our listserv, where you'll get updates about what we're doing and how you can help and stay involved. And on our website, you can go ahead and submit your questions, your concerns, your ideas, your thoughts, your hopes, and your prayers. Because honestly, we know we don't have all the answers, but we know there's strength in numbers. And by hearing from you, we can do our part to help keep the Baylor leadership accountable. Now, some people want to know what the group intends to get. At the end of the day, what will be the results? What's going to happen? What will it look like? And so first and foremost, I really want to underscore the importance of our effort to listen to the entire Baylor family. Some of the folks have been involved for a long time. Some of us recently graduated. And so we don't all have the same amount of information, but we feel it's important. It's actually vital that we hear from every part of the Baylor family. So students, faculty, recent alums, donors, and even folks who maybe didn't go to Baylor, but your friends are Baylor, your son or daughter went to Baylor. You have a perspective to share, and we can only learn from that perspective if you share it. And so whether it's liking our Facebook page or following us on Twitter or checking out our website, please send your thoughts, your concerns, your questions, your ideas for what we can do to advance our mission. I know that some of you saw our amazing event in Waco on November 10th, where we had a press conference, and they want to know, well, will you do more events like that in the future? And so I think the general consensus is yes, but we need to get a sense of where the best place to do similar events. And by all means, if you want to, there's nothing stopping you from organizing events on campus or in your various cities and communities. Go ahead and reach out to your friends, your neighbors who have similar concerns about Baylor and start that conversation, and then share it with us. On the website, you can upload videos so that we can see what you're doing and get the word out. From there, our hope is to try to get a meeting with the Baylor Board of Regents and say, we've heard from the Baylor community. We've gone far and wide, we've gone high and low, and here's the response. Here's what people want to see. Because honestly, more important from hearing from us, we need to hear from the Baylor Board of Regents. They're the ones who've been entrusted with this responsibility. And unfortunately, they're the ones who've also concealed some of the facts behind the investigation, behind how money is spent. And so there have been a lot of hurt feelings among the Baylor family because of all that's happened. But until we get the facts, we won't be able to heal and move forward. And so that's our plan. I also want to talk a little bit about, there's a lot of concern about what is the best way to remove the Baylor Board of Regents. Is someone going to file a lawsuit, or how can we do what we can to hold the Baylor Board of Regents accountable? And so first and foremost, the goal of our effort is to change the culture. And we can't lose sight of that, because even if we swapped out the Baylor Board of Regents, if we don't change the culture, then that problem is going to continue and we'll be right back where we started. And so if we can adopt a mindset, a culture of openness, transparency, and integrity, then it doesn't matter as much as who is on that board, as long as they're accountable to the wider Baylor family. But look, we're not naive. We know there are certain individuals on the Board of Regents who are accountable for some decisions that don't reflect well on Baylor. But at the same time, there are some really good people on that board who love the university, have done good work, and have done nothing wrong. But the truth is, we're not able to tell who has done what, which is why transparency is so important. And that's why we need to have more facts released so that we can get a better assessment of which Baylor Regents were responsible for which decisions and what the impact was. Now, honestly, I am not looking towards any particular litigation going forward. I'm not sure more litigation is the best way to move forward. And truthfully, the way our laws are set up, alumni and students can't bring a lawsuit. We don't have standing in regards to university governance. The only person who can do that for a nonprofit is the Texas Attorney General. And so at this point, we feel like our best strategy is raising awareness. When you and I combine our voices, we form a Baylor line that's stronger than any individual piece. And by raising our voices, by raising the temperature, we've put on public pressure on the Board of Regents. You may have heard just a few weeks ago, the Baylor Board of Regents decided that they're going to go ahead and release future agenda. Hey, that's a step in the right direction, but that's not enough. We also need to know what's happened in the past. They need to release future minutes as well and past minutes. But we've already seen evidence that the strategy is working, but it only works if you continue to join our efforts to raise public pressure and turn up the heat. Another question we've heard is this group focused on bringing back Art Briles? What can we do to bring back Art Briles? And at this point, that's not our focus. Our focus is restoring integrity to the university. We're about leadership reform, and the decisions that were made go up to the top. The buck stops with the Board of Regents. And we don't want to get distracted by focusing on any one part of the university, like athletics. Truthfully, though, what happened around the Baylor football program might be a symptom of a larger problem in regards to how decisions are made how responsibility is deferred, and how the university governs itself. But again, we won't know precisely what happened until we have those facts, which is why transparency is so important. Some folks are wondering, this sounds good and all, and this is really exciting. It's a long time coming, but who are the members of the Bears Leadership Reform? How are they funded? Who are they accountable to? Where does their money go? If I contribute my money, how do I know that money is being spent wisely? And look, those are all fair questions. So in the spirit of transparency, we want to be proactive in telling you how we hold ourselves accountable and how we operate. And so on our website, at the very bottom, you will see a list of our board of directors. And again, these are just individuals like you and I who are either friends of Baylor, alumni of Baylor, who felt strongly about what was happening, felt like we had to do something. And so we've chipped in our own dollars to get this kind of seed money effort started. And we've just been blown away by the support we've received from you all. In fact, we have over 10,000 likes on Facebook, and we're just getting started. Our movement is growing. That being said, we know we don't have all the answers, and we are not so arrogant to think that we know what's best for this group. And so over time, we'll continue add members to our board of directors. We'll continue to seek out and build perhaps an advisory board. We'll continue to seek out to think of if we can do other advisory chapters throughout the state. But that's why we want to hear more about your ideas about what's the best way going forward that we can ensure that our group's inclusive of every part of the Baylor family. And then especially for current students at Baylor who are proud of the university, but they want to know, what can I do to help? What can I do to contribute? I don't have a ton of money, but what can I do? You can give us your voice. Go to the website, sign up, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, upload a video that we can submit through our website. Go ahead and write an op-ed to the Baylor Lariat. Write an op-ed to the Waco Tribune. Shoot, write a op-ed to your hometown newspaper. The point is we've seen that when we speak up, we get a reaction, we get results. But it only happens when we all get involved. I think the other question that I've heard quite a bit about is, in all of this discussion, the Baylor reputation has kind of taken a hit, and it just seems so negative. It seems like there's so much infighting. What can we do to move forward in a positive way that unifies the Baylor family? And I know that folks feel strongly about these issues. They're personal. They involve issues of safety, accountability, and people feel embarrassed and ashamed. And so emotions run high, and that's understandable. But I think the one thing that unifies us all is our love for Baylor and the Baylor mission. And so it's important that we heal, but we can't heal until some of these facts are brought forward so that we know what happened and we know where we can make changes. On top of that, it's healthy to have a conversation about what went wrong, what can be done better. Honestly, the culture of secrecy is what got us in this place, got us in this mess in the first place. And we feel like the best way to move forward in a positive fashion is to get the facts out and let people speak to these issues. And the Board of Regents needs to hear from the Baylor family, and the Board of Regents needs to then come back and speak to the Baylor family. Honestly, they should be the ones posting this video explaining what happened, what they're going to do. But in the absence of their leadership, fellow Baylor Bears like you and I are stepping up to make sure the university continues to be a beacon of Christian stewardship, of public service, of the highest integrity and honor. And so thank y'all so much for helping us in our effort, whether it's by liking us through social media, contributing your treasure, or just getting the word out. All of it helps. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out through this website, and we look forward to staying in touch. Thanks, guys, and sick 'em Bears.